Welcome, welcome one and all. Winter Wizard here. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you my contribution to the 7 Spawn of Nurgle. For joining me today, whoever you are, and welcome to this little video of mine where I'm going to be showing you my contribution to the 7 Spawn of Nurgle. Well, it's cold and lonely here in Winter Wizard's Frozen Fortress, but it's coming up to about mid-afternoon. Got a nice cup of tea over there, Terran Gold, and I'm joined as always by my comrade and co-host, Norwegian Troll Dimmu. Got a bit of a sore hand here, as you might be able to see, due to a little disagreement involving a bicycle and a concrete floor. But all is well here. We're very excited to be filming this video. I've got a Spawn of Nurgle here. And this little model that I've thrown together, I'm going to be showing you all about that today. But very quickly, before we dive into this, I just want to talk about what this video is all about. This is my contribution to the 7 Spawn of Nurgle Collab Project. So, 7 Spawn of Nurgle Collab Project. Perhaps you're wondering, what does that mean, Winter Wizard? So I am a regular member on a Discord server group called the YouTube Creators Brain Trust. And this is where a bunch of YouTubers, such as myself, we all sort of get together, share what we're up to, share ideas, help each other out. It's a great place just to make new friends, learn a few things, and also a great place to initiate collab projects. And that's really what I wanted to do. So the 7 Spawn of Nurgle was an idea of mine that I really wanted to put together, and the idea being that myself and 6 other willing souls would all get together, and all of us would individually make a Spawn of Nurgle. So a Chaos Spawn model, following the god of Nurgle, the father of plagues, of course. And the idea being that we would have a playlist, 7 videos, 7 different creators, 7 different spawn models, and the idea being that you should have anybody finding this will have a really great resource, real great swath of inspiration for perhaps creating your own Chaos Spawn. And so I was very pleased to say that 6 other souls did hold up their hand and they did join me on this little journey, and I want to say a huge thank you to all of them. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about my model. I'm going to show you what I've done, and then what I'm going to ask is at the end of the video, after I've gone through all of this, if you'll hang around for just another 5 minutes, give me an opportunity to shout about the other channels that have gotten involved with this and the new friends that I've made. And yeah, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about them, implore you to go and check them out, but we'll get onto that in a little bit. But first, what I'm going to do is talk about my model and show you what I've done here. So the order of business was very simple, actually. Just create a Chaos Spawn of Nurgle. And so this is what I've done. And there's a few different approaches. Could have gone for this, could have gone for could have tried sculpting this from scratch. I'm really not much of a sculptor, but I do very much enjoy a nice bit of kit bashing, or a little bit of conversion work here and there. So that's what I've done here. And there was a few ways that I thought about tackling this, but what I really wanted to do is I wanted to tell a little bit of a story with my model. So let me explain that to you. I'll zoom in and give you a good look at this in just a minute, but first let me explain. So I have a almost nautical, almost deep sea inspired or themed Death Guard army. They're called the Drowned Plague. If you're a follower of the channel, you'll be very familiar with them, but if you're new to the channel, well, there we go, a deep sea nautical inspired Death Guard army. So what do I really mean by that? Well, kind of the colour scheme, perhaps some of the conversion work is all kind of that inspired. So deep blues and greens, lots of rust and chains and things like wrecks at the bottom of the sea, sea creatures, and all that kind of lovely good stuff. So the warlord of my Death Guard army, the architect of the plague, is none other than this man. This is Gargle Rot Deep, Swallower of Filth, Bringer of the Rotten Tide, and Drowned Daemon Prince of Nurgle. That's right. So this is a great unclean one model, but in games I use him as a Daemon Prince. And so what I've done is I wrote a little bit of a story, I wrote a bit of a fluff as to why he's so big and how he became a Daemon Prince. And this is one of my audiobook narrative style videos that I create, and this one was called The Sinking of Atlantis IV and the Rise of Gargle Deep. Like I said, this is a short, it's about 11-12 minutes, it's just a short story, an audiobook style narrated, voice acted experience for you. And the story tells about a heretic Astartes champion who created a plague and basically sacked and sank an entire hive world. 80 billion souls, all murdered and drowned in a roiling ocean of filth formed from their own putrescent bodily fluids. So, charming stuff indeed. But that was Gargle, and the heretic Astartes champion. He drowned the hive world, and then he bound himself in chains to weigh him down. He threw himself into the sea, drowned himself, and the grandfather, Nurgle, smiled upon him that day. He turned his noxious gaze away from the great game, and he rewarded Gargle with a bountiful array of gifts, with overwhelming generosity. And that's how Gargle became who he is. So you can see here, this is him, covered in tentacles, and he's all bloated and swollen from having swallowed all this liquid. And you'll see that he's even got a crab claw here. This is a real crab claw, a very real crab claw, taxidermied, magnetized onto his hand, and that's the story of Gargle. So why am I telling you this, and how does this coincide with the 7 Spawn of Nurgle? Well, it's very simple actually. Well, the Chaos Gods, you know, they could very easily raise a champion and transcend him into demonhood, and you know, award him with bounties of gifts and all manner of chaosy goodness. But as easily as they could lift up and raise a favoured champion, could they also turn a blind eye and cast him into Spawnhood? The gods are fickle after all. And so I wanted to create a Chaos Spawn, a Spawn of Nurgle, that was essentially an alternate version of reality. What would have happened if, on the day Atlantis IV sank and Gargle Deep rose from the sea, what would happen? What would have happened if the grandfather had turned a fickle blind eye and discarded Gargle to nothing but a Chaos Spawn? And so that is the model that I have made. This is the Chaos Spawn version of Gargle Deep, the swallower of filth. There he is, and that's what I wanted to do. That's the little story behind it. What would have happened if Gargle had turned into a spawn instead of a Daemon Prince? Well, this is what would have happened. So what I'm going to do now is I'll put Gargle aside for the moment, and we'll zoom in, and I'll give you a look at this Chaos Spawn that I've created. The Spawn version of Gargle. And there we go, we've zoomed in here, and you can see my Chaos Spawn of Nurgle. And this is the alternate version of Gargle. This is what he would have looked like if he had become a Chaos Spawn, if Nurgle had turned a blind and fickle eye and discarded the champion. And there we go. So my approach to creating this model is I wanted him to obviously to have a lot of similarities to Gargle. He's got to look like, he's got to be the same character but in a different version, if that makes sense. So, and that's what I've kind of tried to do. So I'll talk you through my process of putting this guy together. So first of all, I was looking for a model that would be a good representation of the Spawn, and with Gargle I used the Great Unclean One model. So I went straight back to the Nurgle range and ended up picking up one of these, Beast of Nurgle, and it's perfect really. It was just the perfect ideal place to start. You know, the same range, the same sculpts, you're not going to go wrong there. Great Unclean One, Beast of Nurgle, you know they're going to look similar. So when I was looking at this model, and it just seemed to really look the part, and Chaos Spawn, they're supposed to be on a 50mm base. I know Gargle over there is a little bit bigger than the Daemon Prince should be, well, a lot bigger, but this is a 50mm base here, and I felt like the Beast would probably fit quite nicely on that size base. And also they're pretty chubby. They're pretty fat and bloated, and they look all swollen. You can see his skin sort of splitting like he's been stretched too much. Nice fat and swollen, drowned little Astartes champion who'd now become some kind of demon creature. And there he is. So this was the perfect place to start. Then we got the manual here. I was looking at all the different configurations and all the different parts. There's a few of them in here. And we picked out all the ones that we thought would be best fitting to keep in with Gargorat and keep in with the Drowned Plague theme. So on his stomach here, we've got the Gargorat himself. He's so swollen and bloated that his organs are pushing out of his body. So there was an option here to have ribs cracked open and his organs spilling out there from how bloated he is. So that was great. The heads here, there was a few different head options. Now, for Gargorat, he's got a big gaping mouth with all this rot spewing out of it, and he's got these great monstrous horns. So we went for the head option that would be quite similar to that, a nice gaping mouth with a couple of eyes and these horns spewing out of his skull as well. So great monstrous horns erupted out of his skull, and there we go. So that's his stomach and his skull, or his horns on his head rather. And over here we had the option for some hands, and we notice here these actually came with some webbed hands. It was really nice. So that really plays into the sort of sea creature thing, the webbed hands. So that was perfect. So I couldn't have picked any other option other than the webbed hands. Really nice. And then we had over the page just a couple of options for his back here. These nice sort of, there was a sort of like a mane of tentacles and a mane here of these kind of like, again, they're almost tentacles, but they're kind of like, they remind me of kind of like a sea urchin, or you know, some kind of coral or something like that, that kind of inspired thing. So we went for that, give him a nice slushy mane of all these weird tubes. And again, I think they kind of play in well with the deep sea theme. So I went for those. And then over the page again, we've got these little bits of well, they're like drips and blobs of stuff and blobs of spew. So we stuck some of those, a couple in his mouth, some more rot and slime pouring out of his gob, and a few bits around here. What I noticed with these Beasts of Nurgle models is that there's a nice, well, he's got, it's not really showing you on the box, he's got this nice sort of slug-like, again almost slug, sort of sea urchin type figure here. He actually had all these holes in the side of him, and it looked good to actually have those little bits of spew and those drops of slush and slime pouring out from inside him. So it's almost like a slug, you know, it leaves a trail of slime and things. It's brilliant. So so there we go. So that was the thinking behind the choices. Gave him the organs for his belly to represent Gargorat here. Gave him the face that had the two eyes, and the horns again to represent him. Webbed hands, always a good option. And a bit of slush and slime pouring out of his mouth and out of his various orifices and holes. Well, there we go. But I think this really works well for representing a Spawn. You know, he's not supposed to be like a powerful, monstrous Daemon Prince. He's supposed to be a bit awkward, a bit slow, and a bit like, Spawn is not supposed to be a, oh sure they're a scary thing, but nowhere near. They're like the opposite spectrum of a Daemon Prince. So while Gargorat here is monstrous and big and powerful, and yes, he's extremely large, but he's got these legs and these giant arms and he got his crab claw as well, this huge weapon. But the Spawn of Gargorat here, he wasn't gifted with a monstrous killing weapon, of course. Just his webbed hands. No powerful legs, just this big sloppy slug-like belly and tail. Yeah, this mane of his kind of gift was this mane of tubes. Well, there we go. So we had all that as a good start, but then we wanted to do a bit more work on this, bring him a bit more to life, bring him a bit more in keeping with a Spawn rather than just a Beast of Nurgle. So I'm going to explain how I've done that as well now. So first of all, there were two options for the main. We could have all these sort of like goggular tubes and things, and there was also the tentacle head as well. But what we did was we actually cut up all the tentacles and snipped them all off, and we stuck them all over him basically. So we wanted to add to sort of the chaotic nature of a Spawn, the sort of the crazy sort of, they're supposed to be just purely maddening to look at. Like the more sort of randomness that you put into a Spawn model, the more the more realistic it's going to be. They're supposed to be quite random, I suppose, and just a real weird, botched parody of life, you know. So I added tentacles all over his body, just in various little bits, literally just by taking a craft knife and sort of cutting them a little bit of shape here and there, but then just plastic glue wherever it seemed to fit, wherever. I don't think you would notice really that they're literally just been stuck on. You just seem to find decent points where they seem to fit nicely, or it seems to work. But I wanted to stick him around his arms and things, to be and all over his shoulders, around his body, and in just some weird random places, like there's a little one poking out here. But just to be sort of representative again of Gargarot here, he's got them all over, coming out of his arms, like here, little ones just protruding from God knows where on his body. And yeah, so again, trying to represent Gargarot here by a maddening sort of, you know, swarm of tentacles erupting from all over him. So that's the tentacles, and the next thing we did, oh, you can see actually that I've put some tentacle slime on here. Yeah, like you see it there, and a little bit around here. See it all dripping off, a little bit there, and there's a nice one in here. Little slimy, little stringy bits of slime. So just to add to the sort of the wetness and the slushiness and the real gross slimy aspect of the tentacles. I didn't really actually do much of that on Gargarot. I should maybe go back and do some, but I did do a nice sort of drip coming out of this tongue here. But yeah, some tentacle slime, and just to add to the effect. Nice touch, I think. Nice feature. Quite easy to achieve. But I'll tell you a little bit more about where you can find how I've done that in a bit. So that's the slime and the tentacles. Then moving on, Gargarot here, as you can see, he's covered in chains. So when the Heretic Astartes champion threw himself into the sea, into the rotten sea, he did that covered in chains to sink him down. And it's kind of like a symbolic thing as well. He wrapped himself in chains and gave himself entirely to Nurgle. And so when the Heretic Astartes champion, when he expanded and swelled up, a lot of the chains, they broke and they split off and dropped off him and stuff, but a lot of them stay the same. So there's still a few on Gargarot here, mostly around his arms and things, but not loads because he's so big. They've probably all disappeared, but I wanted to keep some on there, so wrapped around his arms like so. And so I wanted to add some chains onto the spawn as well to represent that. And there we go. So, and that's literally just chain like this. You can buy this from eBay, modeling chain, little mini chains and stuff. Pretty cheap, pretty inexpensive, and just painted up, corroded up, and stuck on with super glue. Again, just sort of wrapping it around and gluing where seemed appropriate. And there, I put quite a few more on him, so it looks like he's probably got more than Gargarot, like he's still quite wrapped up because he didn't expand so much. But yeah, they're just sort of all over him, sort of, again, kind of chaotic feel wrapped around him. There's one wrapped around his body here, around his front, and his arms around the front there. Again, chains is something that I'd like to do quite a lot of with my Death Guard, particularly on like the vehicles and stuff and some of the characters. Just think they're a real nice touch. There we go. So we added some chains to keep in with them. And then one other feature that I wanted to resemble and to sort of really tie him into Gargarot, really make him feel like it's the same character, was this sort of this hood, basically, this kind of cloth on his head. Really like that on this Rotigus. It's the Rotigus Great Unclean One sculpture. Really like that. So I wanted to sort of resemble that and give the spawn here a hood as well. So you can see that I've done that. Now, we'll hold my hand up and say not the greatest sculptor in the world. I'm not very practiced at it, but I had a go, and I think it's come out all right. You can see what it is. You can see that it's definitely a hood, and it's painted up the same. And I tried to sort of resemble the same sort of shape, the way he's got his eyes sort of peeking through here. And then it's sort of hanging all the way down here. Tried to create the same sort of feel here, like so. And the way I've done this was just with some green stuff. So if you don't know what green stuff is, I'm sure you probably do, but if you don't, it's you buy it like this. just modelling stuff basically, and you cut some off, bit of yellow, bit of blue, mix it together, roll it up into a ball, and squish it all together until it goes green, and then you can mould with it, and you can create shapes and create sculpts with it. And when it dries solid as a rock. So I did that. I just plastered a load of green stuff on him, put it around the sides here so his horns are peeking through it. They've ripped through the cloth and stuff, and there we go. So I thought that was the final feature that really sort of tied it in with Gargarot here, gave a nice representation of the two characters together. Well, there we go. So that's the Spawn, and that's Gargarot, and there they are. So I hope you can see that I've really tried to sort of create a model that was a representation of the same character, but in a different reality, in the reality where Nurgle turned a blind and fickle eye to the champion that became Gargarot, and cast him into Spawnhood as well. So he's got no crab claw, no terrifying weapon, no hulking physique. He's just he's bloated and, you know, and scary, but he's a bit of a mess, really. Bless him. He's a bit of a parody, you know. And there we go. So I hope you can see that I've tried to do to represent him here with the tentacles, with the choice of the belly, the choice of the head, the cloth on his head, all the chains, and all that sort of stuff. So that's my Spawn of Nurgle, and I hope you like him. So if you want to hear the story of how Gargarot became himself, how the hive world of Atlantis 4 was drowned, then check out my video, The Sinking of Atlantis 4 and the Rise of Gargarot Deep. Audiobook style narrative video. It's about 11-12 minutes long. It's designed to sort of be your it's designed to sort of be a bit of an introduction to my Death Guard army. And if you're into the audiobooks, if you're into the lore, then I think you'll like it. So I would love it if you went and checked it out. If you want to see how I've painted if you want to learn all the secrets of how I painted my Death Guard, including these characters here, check out my painting series, Painting the Drowned Plague. And it's a breakdown of, it's a multi-part, 7-episode series of all the different steps to painting the Drowned Plague. And we cover everything from Space Marine power armor, the Death Guard power armor, all the way to the flesh, to slushy tentacles, to the bones, the rusty chains and metallics. Everything basically, all the secrets of painting, everything you could possibly need to know about painting the Drowned Plague is in that 7-part series. And if you're interested in seeing some conversion tutorials, if you want to see how I've created this tentacle slime here, if you want to see how I go about creating the chains here and gluing those on, if you want to see how Gargarot himself got his crab claw, if you want to see me explain the process of how I went about doing this crazy little venture of mine using a real crab claw, then check out my conversion tutorial series called Disgusting Conversions. Again, it's a multi-part series, 7 episodes, and it covers basically all the main conversion work that featured in my army, the Drowned Plague. So there you go. And there we go. So I've just given you a final little closer zoom in here to give you one last look at the alternate version of Gargarot Deep here, the Swallower of Filth. This is Gargarot Deep as a Spawn there, and I'm really pleased with the way the models come out. It was a lot of fun to do, really good fun painting it up, really good fun just sticking all these little bits on him and just really going to town. We're trying to make him sort of gross and revolting and a sort of parody of existence, really. So there we go. Really hope that you like him. So now what I want to do is, if you'll stick with me for 5 minutes, I just want to talk a little bit about the 6 other good souls that joined me on this little venture of mine. So like I said, the 7 Spawn of Nurgle, it is a collab project, and it's a project that I put together that I was thinking about for a while, that I really wanted to do. The idea being 7 souls, 7 spawn, 7 videos, and 1 great playlist, you see. So anybody who's coming along looking for a little bit of inspiration or a little bit of a tutorial about maybe how to put together a Chaos Spawn of Nurgle, they would find this playlist, and they would find 7 videos from 7 different creators, giving them tons of inspiration, tons of ideas. And I'm really pleased to say that the souls who joined me on this, they've all done a fantastic job. They've all given it their own unique flair, their own unique ideas, ideas that I would never have come up with, and that's the beauty of it, because Spawn are supposed to be, no 2 Spawns should ever look the same. They're supposed to be chaotic and weird and different. So I just really like the idea that, you know, by having 7 different creators, you would naturally get 7 spawn that just looked bonkersly different, because it was coming from the creative furnace of 7 different Nurgle loving hearts. So the first budding soul to join me on this quest to satisfy the grandfather of plagues was Alex from Big Adventures Miniature World. So Alex, really big thank you for joining me on this little venture, and everybody, you should all go and check out Alex's channel. He seems like a really awesome dude. I absolutely loved his enthusiasm for the project when he's been sending lots of updates and being really enthusiastic with everybody, so I've really loved that. And he's got a voice, a Scottish accent just like butter, and his videos, they're just really charming and really nice. I particularly enjoy his video called Let's Fail at Making a Game Mat for Warhammer, and that's really just a really charming video. What I really like about his style is he just seems like he's just a dude at home doing what he loves and sharing his hobby. And he's got some great content so far, some conversion tutorials, some painting videos, and he does things like Warhammer, Dungeons and Dragons, Warcry, even some Star Wars Legion as well. So Alex, check out Alex's video, check out his spawn, and subscribe to his channel. So the second soul to answer the call was Vivid Mini Mods. So Vivid Mini Mods. So I'm a real big fan of Vivid, actually. He's absolutely awesome channel. So if you want a channel that's purely all about conversions, if you don't want to see you won't see a single model on his channel straight out of the box, or that you won't see a single model that you can probably buy anyway. They're all, everything he does is crazy conversion work. He's got a real nice, grim, dark, slightly horrific sometimes feel to a lot of his work. Yeah, absolutely awesome stuff. I'm really pleased to have Vivid on board for this. One of my favourite videos of his, I particularly enjoyed his Catan Shard of the Nightbringer conversion. So if you want to see a really cool approach to creating a Catan Shard. Oh, and a Dark Mechanicum Tech Priest as well. He's got a really awesome video for a Dark Mechanicum Tech Priest. So yeah, really awesome grim dark conversions, really bonkers stuff. Guy's wicked. So check out Vivid Mini Mods, and please drop a subscription on his channel. Soul number 3 to join the ranks of the 7 Spawn of Nurgle Collab project was Wayne from Forge of Solace. Forge of Solace, a painter, engineer, and a nerd. That's what he says. I really love his channel. He's got a really great, just real sense of fun. This guy seems to be having just a great time making videos. And what I particularly like about his approach to his content choice is he always seems to be coming up with new things to sort of experiment with, or to challenge himself with. So he's got a couple of videos where he challenges himself to do something. One of them that I really liked was his challenge to paint his Skitarii warrior in an hour from start to finish, and that was really entertaining, really good. But yeah, so really enjoy his approach, and really enjoying checking out his stuff. Really loved his enthusiasm for the project as well, and yeah, just having a great time checking out his videos. So if you want some paint tutorials, you want some conversion work, you want some really interesting challenges and some just real entertaining stuff, and maybe even a Christmas song here or there, then check out Forge of Solace and drop a subscription on Wayne's channel. The fourth soul to join the 7 Spawn of Nurgle was Ryan from USELESSWIZARD Miniatures. So, great name, by the way. Always appreciate a fellow wizard. And Ryan's an interesting one, actually, because if you check out his channel, you'll notice that there aren't actually any videos there, but he has a lot of subscribers. So Ryan, if I believe correctly, used to make videos. Used to make a lot of videos, and for some reason hasn't got any anymore. But Ryan, I believe, is stepping back into video production. He's stepping back into creating content, and well, I'm really thrilled to say that Ryan has decided that USELESSWIZARD Miniatures will make its debut with the 7 Spawn of Nurgle. So he's going to be baptized in the foul waters of the Grandfather. So very pleased to have Ryan aboard. Really loved his enthusiasm. I really loved his work that I've seen on this project, and really looking forward to seeing what future videos he's gonna be making after this. And the 5th soul to join the ranks of the 7th Spawn of Nurgle was Lily from EDNELLS Crafting. And Lily's just getting started into the mystical world of YouTube video creating. She's got 1 video on her channel so far, and it's a really great one. Really enjoyed watching it. She teaches you how to craft and build a nice piece of terrain for some tabletop gaming, whether it's Warhammer or any other gaming system that you find yourself playing. So Lily's got a really great style. The video is really nice, really well made, really well edited and produced, and she's got a really nice voice, really great voice for explaining what's going on. It's very soothing, and I personally like watching videos to sort of wind down and to relax to, and she's got a really great tone for that. So Lily, again, she's been really enthusiastic about the project. Been really thrilled to have her aboard, and her spawn has got intestines for miles, I think. So it's really cool. So check out EDNELLS Crafting and give Lily a subscription on her channel. And the 6th and final soul to join us on the 7th Spawn of Nurgle Collab Project was M from PATCHWORKSHOP. M's got a great little channel going on at the moment, and she does a nice selection of more talky things, sharing her thoughts and feelings on stuff, and a kind of video that I really enjoy, that I generally find just really relaxing and really almost therapeutic to watch actually, is unboxing videos, and she's got a nice little selection of them. I think she's got about seven of them at the moment. I particularly enjoyed her unboxing video of, I think it was called a Warhammer 40k collection buyout haul. So she's got 2 enormous boxes filled of Warhammer that she's bought, I think, and she unboxes it all and talks about it. And that was really entertaining, and an unboxing video of the Army Painter mega set. So if you want to have a closer look at some stuff, or you just really like that kind of video like I do, and she's a great one for that. She seems really lovely. Her enthusiasm for this project has been really awesome, and I know that she's had quite a lot of things going on while she's been doing it, but she's worked really hard to get her video out as well. And yeah, so she's done quite a few collab projects, I believe. So head over to PATCHWORKSHOP, give Em a subscription. She's awesome. And there we go then. All that leaves me to say is that to Big Adventures, Miniature Worlds, to Vivid Mini Mods, Forge of Solace, USELESSWIZARD Miniatures, to EDNELLS, and to PATCHWORKSHOP, I just want to say a huge thank you for joining me on this little quest. It's been an honour and a privilege to honour the Father of Plagues with all of you. So please check out all the other channels. The links will be in the comments down below, and also you'll see all their videos linked into the same playlist that this video is on my channel. So head over to all their channels, drop a subscription, drop a like, drop a comment on their videos. All that stuff just really helps the YouTube algorithm, and it really gives channels a push. So really hope that you'll check them out. And once again, all of you, thank you so much. So there we are then, that's the 7th Spawn of Nurgle. We're going to wrap this video up from there. So if you have enjoyed the video today, then a like and a comment would be very much appreciated. And if you'd like to see more of what goes on here inside the Frozen Fortress, then perhaps you'll also consider becoming a subscriber. And once again, whoever you are, thank you very much for joining me today. I'm Winter Wizard, that's Dimmu, and for now, keep it frosty.